are. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Yarn Thing podcast. I'm your host, Marley Bird. You can catch the Yarn Thing podcast live every Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock Mountain Time, or a little bit after 10 o'clock Mountain Time. You know, we get in here around that time. I live in Denver, Colorado. So if you want to come and join the fun live on the show, please Google what time 10 o'clock Mountain Time is for you. You can also just hit subscribe right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Whenever I go live or release a new video like I did today, you will be notified that there's something new over here for you to come and check out. And that's probably the easiest way for you to get over here. We have lovely sponsors we're going to say thank you to. They include Creative Bug, Erin Lane Bags, Buffalo Wool Company, Stitches.events, and last but certainly not least, Red Heart Yarns, where I'm the proud national spokesperson, and it's the home of Chic Sheep by Marley Bird Yarn. So that's the gist of everything. I hope you guys are doing well. My hair is a little bit crazy today. I feel like I've got like this Edward, who's the guy who wore his pants up really high and he had this funny hair. Oh, it'll come to me. I don't know. It'll come to me. Anyways, hope you all are doing well. It's been a very mild summer thus far in Colorado. It's been very nice and relaxed. You can see I'm still wearing long sleeves. Like, it's crazy. But I'm having a good time. My kids are home still. And, is that my dog is rubbing her rear end back there? That's awesome. There you go. That's quality television right there. This is what you get, Ron.
I wouldn't expect any less. Just rolling out the red carpet for me.
I gotta say, that's a first. Oh my God. Okay. The makeup is gonna be gone. It's gone. Okay. Anyways, hey everybody, we're here today with my friend Ron Strong. We're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff. So I'm just gonna say, hey Ron.
Hey, how's it going, Marley?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry about that. My dog. At first, we're like, "Hey, Penny came in here, yay!" And then she's like wiping her rear end. I'm like, "Really?" Anyway,
make yourself at home. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, exactly. So hey, I'm so grateful you are here today joining us. It's been a while since you've been on. I think the last time you came on was when the sock book came out, right?
Yeah, that was a year ago, I think. Right? Yeah, about a year ago.
So. Yeah, how things have changed in our industry in the last year, right?
Right. Totally different.
Hey, but hey, we're still here.
We're doing it. We're doing the thing.
So you are here and you are working with somebody who we both admire and treasure, Debbie Maycomer. And Debbie was on the podcast here a little while ago talking about her initiative that she is doing. And she brought up your name as one of the designers. And I was like, this is great. Ron's going to come on the show. And so here you are.
Yay.
Well, before we jump in talking about Debbie, let's give people a brief history of who you are and how you got into all of this. So for those people who might not have had the pleasure yet to get to know you, I want them to know exactly what you do. You're knitting, crocheting, punch needle, and quilting, and you're jack of all trades.
I am. So I started designing, oh goodness. I think I opened my first Etsy shop in 2010, but then I started designing professionally in 2012, and that was when I was like focused on 2012. I was focused on
it's that kind of show today.
I was focused on vintage knitting and like reproduction knitting and doing things that were that kind of talked about World War I and World War II and knitting and crochet during that time. And then I did a real hard right pivot and started focusing on crochet. And then I've done crochet design pretty much almost exclusively for the last 6 years. And so I've written 5 books. I'm on 4 books. I think it's like 4 or 5 books. And I'm working on a punch needle one now. I wrote 1 knitting book and 4 crochet books. Yeah, 4 crochet books. And I am on 2 seasons of Knit and Crochet now. And or is it 3? God, this is terrible. I
It
think it's
will
3
be 3.
seasons.
Yeah, it
There's
will be 3.
it will be 3 when the new season comes out. I've been on 2. I'm an instructor with Annie's Creative Studio, and yeah, I just design lots. I have kits. I do individual patterns. I don't sell individual patterns anymore, but I still design them and put them out for free for people on different kind of companies' websites. And but right now I'm kind of focused on writing books and stuff like that and teaching mostly.
I love it. I feel like I could say I knew you when you were there. You was like, my little
You
Sadie
were.
here.
You were literally like at the when I was a baby. I think I came on your show the very first time. I don't even know what year it was, 2014 or 15 or something like that. It was
Yeah.
a while ago. And we met at TNNA, and that's when I met like Rebecca Velasquez and Ellen
Mm-hmm.
Gormley, and I think Kristen Amdahl was there too, I think.
Yeah.
But it was like that was the design dinner. That was like owning all my crochet heroes, and now I get to be one of you guys after all these years. So it's always fun. It's always fun and exciting. So
I love it. I love you're so passionate about crochet and knitting in general, and always an advocate for designing and helping others. And so just having you combine forces with Debbie and with Oleg, like you've talked about that too.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
so many things that you're doing that are beyond just the crochet and the knitting side of stuff. And so this is my transition into Debbie Maycomer. How did that happen?
So it's everything. I feel like everything in life and everything in my career has always been like super coincidental. And I always feel like God put you in the right place at the right time, and
Amen.
you're never where you're not supposed to be,
Right.
right? Like
Right.
we're supposed to be right here at that right exact time. And I got this idea that I wanted to share my love of books, which you know I love books, and you're a big reader, on Instagram. And so I started taking photos of books that I would read with the crochet or knitting project I was working on at the time. And I originally met Debbie in, I think it was 2015 or 2016. It was a while ago. And it was when they had a conference called, I think, Annie's Creative Festival.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Debbie was the keynote speaker. And I met her there. She was actually friends with Candy, who used to be the producer of Knit and Crochet Now. I'm telling you, it's so weird how things just like line up. And so I started sharing that my favorite book is the first in the Cedar Cove series. And the Cedar
Oh,
Cove series has always been my favorite series and my favorite television show. So I shared that on Instagram, and I was just tagging Debbie like a good influencer does on Instagram. And I caught the eye of Debbie's social media assistant, and she was like, "Hey, I think we should work together on something. We should do something." And so when we first started out, she sent me, I think, an advanced reader's copy of Debbie's Christmas novel that was coming out called, I think it was Alaskan Holiday or something. And I took a picture of it, and we kind of like shared it with people. And then I wrote some blog posts for Debbie's website. One of them was called Listen While You Stitch. And it was about how a lot of us crochet designers are also epic readers. And that's because we love to listen to audiobooks while we stitch. And I shared some of my favorite audiobooks. I'm telling you, it's like the joy. And I used to think I can't do audiobooks. Like I can't listen to someone read to me. But then someone pointed out to me, and this is what I say to everyone: how many times are you watching TV while you're crocheting, but not looking at the TV, just listening to it? And
absolutely.
so I think of it like the images play in my head. And so I shared some of my favorite Debbie audiobooks. And we talked about Listen While You Stitch, and that kind of tumbled into Debbie. I think it was last year or the year before, she started Knit One Bless Two, which
Yeah.
is her organization in partnership with World Vision. And it essentially, it's every time you knit something for someone else, you're blessing that other person, but you're also blessing yourself. And that was really important to me because I feel like I have a platform and I have the ability to impact people. And even if it's tiny, even if it's small. And for a long time, I struggled because I thought I'm just knitting and crocheting. Like, obviously this isn't what God wants me to do. He wants me to do something bigger and better that blesses people more. But then I had people write me emails and they were just like, you don't realize what a blessing your pattern is, because it allows me to take a break from my normal everyday life. I don't have to worry about this and I don't have to do this. And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. And so when I heard about that, I was like, this is a great way to bless other people. And it's a great way to bless myself with the calm, contemplative, meditative, prayerful nature of crocheting and knitting. And so Ashley was like, hey, would you like to design this? And we kind of worked together on like the structure of how things are going to go. And I was the big advocate for selling patterns, because it's a great way to give a donation and then get a pattern in return as a thank you. And it allows you to kind of just, it allows you to make something, but you also get to help cover shipping, which is, like we all know, is super expensive.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm really excited. I love working with Debbie and I love everything she stands for. And I love everything the organization like World Vision stands for. They're very transparent about all the donations they take in, all the money they take in, which is really important to me. And then I love working with Knit One Bless too. And like I was looking the other day, I think World Vision says like 60% of all of the items that they get for the Knit for Kids program goes overseas to different countries, but 40% actually stays here in America and blesses children here that need the help. And so we're literally helping children all over the world. And I think especially now when the world seems to be quite divided, it's a way for knitters and crocheters to say, hey, our stitches matter, and we can come together and we can make a huge difference one stitch at a time. So
I love that. I love I love your idea about wanting to reach people and stuff, because I have the same thing happen to me. I'll feel like, is God planning me for more things? Should I be
right.
doing bigger things? Should I be trying
Yeah.
to impact more people? And then I'll get a wonderful email or a message or something that somebody will tell me how wonderful a podcast particularly was, or a pattern was, because they were able to work on it as they were sitting next to their dying family member in hospice or something. Like there's things like that. And I feel like, at least for me, that's Penny saying hello. At least for me, I want to say it's God's way of reassuring me. Look, I got you. You're in the right
Yes.
place. This is
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you're
yeah.
supposed to be. And
Yeah.
when the next cycle comes, we'll know. We'll be all right. We'll be there.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm living through that right now. Of, what am I supposed to do? Where am I?
Yeah.
Is video what I'm supposed to continue doing? Should have been designing? I'm not real sure. And and then I'll get these messages like, you're a great teacher. You have great designs, and I'm like, thank you. I needed to hear that today. So
Yeah.
it's nice.
I think the great thing is that freelance is always a test of faith, right? Like it's always kind of, you're worried, but at the same time, I had to learn very early on that everything I was going to do was going to be completely just resting on a base of faith. Like, am I going to be able to move forward? How am I going to pay this bill? Am I going to have enough money in 6 months for rent? Like, there's
Preach.
very real, and this is, and that's why, like, you do it because you love it, not because you want the foundation. But like, if you can rest on that foundation of faith, like, then you're fine. You're totally fine. You'll continue to be fine. And no matter where you go, it's where you're supposed to go at that time. So like, we can have security and knowing that thing. And that's the great thing about knitting and crochet. Like, no matter any of the work I do, like whether it's like my activism work with Oleg or it's my design work with companies, like I can sit in the knowledge and know that what I'm doing makes, at least, even if it's just making a difference in my life, it's making a difference in someone's life.
Right.
Right. And that's incredibly important to me.
I love it. So, how many patterns are you signed on to do with Debbie? Just the one, or is it several? Like, what's the plan?
So I know we're doing one this month for the launch. I think we're doing another one in another month, and then we're going to kind of go from there. And so we're going to, right now we're taking it on a little bit slow because we just launched it into a nice little soft launch, and then we'll grow from there. So but if you go to Debbie's website, you can go to knit one, bless two, and then all the information is there. And the pattern is called the Blessings Mitt and Hat Set, and it all kind of
awesome. Yeah. Awesome. And just so everybody knows, I do have all the links and everything about Rohn in the show notes, and I've already put that link in the video description box of this video, like I always do. So you can always click there so that you can get direct links to everything that Rohn has in the works, so to speak. We've also included some of the patterns that he has designed with Red Heart and some of the ones that I have done videos for. So that way you can see our two little worlds coming together. It's so much fun. So can we jump ship a little bit here and talk a little bit about Oleg and that relationship?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so tell me about that.
So I started, Oleg came to Raleigh. She started this really great, organization. I don't know if we call it an organization, but it's Love Across the USA. And you can go to loveacrosstheusa.com. It's this amazing platform where we can take crochet and we can amplify the voices of women and minority women, and we can make an impact in local communities. And so she came here to Raleigh, and Nina Simone is actually from North Carolina. And so we did a large banner using red.
Hold on just a second, Ron. You're breaking up just a little bit here. So the last thing I heard was you went to North Carolina. Sorry. I know it's been a little choppy a little bit here and then, but this last one, it was really choppy. So I'll come back.
It's my internet.
That's all right.
So we, where was I?
So Love Across America.
I lose my train of thought.
I know. So sorry.
No. So, gotcha. Yes. So Oleg came to Raleigh and we talked a little bit, and I helped make one of the banners that was here. And it was just beautiful, and I had such a great time, and I met her and we talked, and January of this year, she asked me if I would like to come on board. And I said, absolutely. And so the last place we went was Palm Desert, California, which is a small town just outside of Palm Springs, California. And we honored Minerva Hoyt and Minerva Hamilton Hoyt, but Minerva was kind of the basis for Joshua Tree National Park and a lot of our desert national parks. And so I went in and I teach along with my coworker, Lynette. She's also from Raleigh. Lynette and I teach a kind of like a 2-day workshop, about 2 or 3 day workshop. And we teach people how to crochet using Oleg's method. And we work at like a tighter gauge. So all you crocheters will know what I mean. Like we use worsted weight yarn, but we crochet with like an 3.5 millimeter to 3.75 millimeter. It creates a very dense kind of fabric.
And time consuming. Geez.
It's very, yeah. And these are large banners. Like these are not small. I mean, these are billboards.
Yeah.
We create entire crochet billboards. And so, I really wanted to join on because I feel like within the community, we have such a great range of diverse people, and the communities are great. And I'm like one lone guy, and it's like, how can I lift and use my place of privilege and my platform to raise women and to raise other people and give them the voice that they deserve, that's so often quieted in the world. And this doesn't impact, I would say, like, in my opinion, it's not like it necessarily impacts just people within our community. I think it impacts people outside of the community. And it makes people aware that crochet is this amazing art form, along with being like just something kind of cool to do and relaxing. So I love working with Oleg. She's done amazing things all over the world. She primarily, I think almost all crochet related now, and just she's worked with refugees, and she's been, I mean, I feel like every country, not literally every country, but she's an amazing artist, and her platform is quite and her purpose is quite, it's like you can feel it, you know what I mean? Like when you meet someone and you know exactly that they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and they're
Yeah.
very passionate about that. It's like you can stand right there with them, and I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. So, um, I love my job with Oleg. Like it's so much fun. I get to travel to these places. I get to meet both crocheters and non-crocheters. I get to teach them how to crochet. And even more importantly, I get to help a community come together, and I get to work with an amazing team that helps a community come together, no matter their race, no matter their age, their economic level, their political views. None of that matters. What matters is that we can come together as a community. We can create something extraordinarily beautiful and impactful that will hopefully change perspectives and educate people. That's really what it's about. It's educating people about amazing women who have done amazing things in the history of the United States.
So cool. You are working with two like such influencing people here in our world in such a unique way. Who would have ever thought that crochet would have brought you to a place like this? Like,
I
isn't
know.
it crazy? Like,
It
I
is.
mean,
It's so weird. It's so weird. I would have never thought that I would get the opportunities that I get to have and to do what I love. And like I love designing, and but I hate writing patterns. Like it's the absolute worst thing in the world. Um but I
I so agree.
it's like I love designing and I love making the thing. But when I started teaching, I had this epiphany of like, this is what I love. I love teaching people how to crochet. And it was like, I think it was at the very, I think it was at the first Stitches I ever taught at, which was Stitches South. Um, that was in 2016,
In
17,
Tennessee?
16.
Was that one in Tennessee?
Yeah, Tennessee.
Okay.
So I had taught before them, but going there and seeing a large group and like having these huge classes, I was just like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I want to just keep doing this. And I was super inspired by you, and I was inspired by Drew and Patty Lyons, and just all of the names, Melissa Leitman, all of the people.
Oh,
Like,
she's my person. She's my
right?
if I could come back, I as a spirit animal, I want to be Melissa Leitman. Like,
Yes. Yes.
yes, she's
Yes.
prolific.
Yes. So prolific. Like,
Yes.
I just I saw all these people and I was like, I want to be them. I want to do that. But one thing I had to learn was that everyone's path is their own path, and
Yes.
trying to go down someone else's is not going to work, because I tried to go down other people's path my entire career. And I thought, well, if they're doing this, let me do this. And if they're doing this, let me go here. And what I realized was that it's not about going where someone else has gone. It's about going where no one else has gone. And it's about doing something that makes me happy, not something that'll make sales. And you can totally say that when you have like an established set of designs and you have royalty checks coming in every month. So don't let me kid you, anyone watching this, into that I was able to make that decision after 3 years of designing. I was able to make that after 5 books. And I had royalty checks that paid the bills for multiple months at a time. I can now make that decision to do those things and to only do the things that I want to do. So it's, yeah.
It's hard. Somebody recently, it was Mikey from the Crochet Crowd, told me, we were talking recently, and he was like, you just got to make sure you're authentic. And I said, well, I think of anything, that's the one thing I am. I feel like I am authentic to who I am and what I do. Like, I don't try and be somebody else. But to your point of, it was after several books, after, having this ability to decide, this is what I'm going to be. I'm going to be true to myself. At the start, you are just sort of scrambling, trying to find your place and where you fit in and exactly what you want to do. There's very few designers that I can think of that have right off the bat just been who they are. From the very beginning, you know what I mean? Like, everybody has sort of morphed a little bit. And it's just, I think it's just the growing sense of what we do in our industry. And there are some people who can continue to grow and pivot, like we've talked about, pivoting and, constantly reforming what it is you do. Because what I used to do 5 years ago, I don't do anymore. Like, for example, I'm teaching at the Crochet Guild of America, or no, Yeah, that's right. Crochet Guild of America. Um, in their professional development day, and I'm teaching hobby to profession. I had to change my class structure this year because half of the stuff that I used to teach is not even applicable anymore. Like, you just can't do that. You can't, there aren't any crochet magazines. You know what I mean? There's like two, and it's like, okay, well, let's reform,
Yeah.
let's rethink, let's regroup, let's pivot. There's so many different ways you have to just do that to continue to be in the industry, because if you stay where you are and you're like, no, this is my box, this is what I do, this is it, you're going to be obsolete.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, for me, um I think the pivoting helps, and it's also like staying with blinders on and not watching what other designers are doing and being like, let me reside in this space that is my own, and let me exist here and do this thing. Like, I don't have the most social media numbers of anyone out there.
Me
I
either.
don't sell the most, yeah, and I don't sell the most patterns, and I don't, sell the most books, but I do enough that I'm happy. I
Mm-hmm.
do enough that I'm still in this industry. And what's crazy is designers I looked up to when I started are no longer in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I've outlasted a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I don't think of that as like I'm gloating, but instead I'm persevering. And I'm like,
Yes. Good word.
like
Good word.
sometimes it's literally about survival.
Yeah.
It's like, where can I go? Okay, like I gotta eat hot dogs for the week. I'm gonna do it because I need to crochet this. Like, there are times I look back, I remember very specifically in 2014, I had just moved into a new apartment. I was paying $1,000 a month rent, and it was scary. And there was one magazine who did not pay me on time, and I missed rent. I had no money for food. Like, I had nothing. I was completely like, when I say I was surviving on rice-a-roni for 5 days, like, no joke.
Yep.
And it was at that moment that I was like, okay, I either really love this or I'm stupid.
Right.
Like, there's no in between right now. Like,
I am so right there with you. And I think there's so many of us designers who've had similar situations. I don't know. I don't know if I've told you mine. It was 6 years ago, and I went to pay bills and I didn't have any money in the bank. And I had been doing this for, 8 years or whatever. And my husband came home and he was just, I'm telling him, I'm like, I don't know what to do. He goes, I don't understand. You're working so hard. I said, John, the way we get paid in this industry is you turn something in and then you don't get paid till it's published. And even after that, it's like 30 days later. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm sitting here and yeah, I'm working my butt off. I've done all of this work and I have $25,000 out on the books that I'm waiting. If I were to quit right now over the next year, I'd make 25 grand,
yeah,
but I don't have any money right now. And he's
yeah,
like, excuse my French, but he's like, that's ass backwards. I'm like, I just don't know how I'm going to survive. And that's when I pivoted and did the YouTube channel. And, all the things have led up, beyond that. Like last week, I had Jill Wiseman on the podcast and we talked about how that flow. Cause I saw her like the week after I had this conversation with my husband, and she
yeah,
was like, you need to start YouTube. And, and from YouTube was my relationship with Red Heart grew because I was already friends with Red Heart, but it's all the things. But anyways, I'm right there with you. Like, imagine having a mortgage on a house and five kids, 3 kids to feed and everything that goes into it. And all of a sudden there's no money. I mean, I totally get it when it comes to all of that stuff. Ron, can you still hear me? I just see your picture there.
no, I can see it. Am I back?
All right.
I'm
So
trying to switch my connection over. Am I there?
yeah, now I can see you. Okay. Well,
Okay.
now you're back to your picture now.
I was trying to switch my connection over
That's
because.
all right. That's all right. You're back to your picture, so I'll just keep on talking real quickly.
Okay. Yeah.
So you do your thing. I will distract. Hey, everybody, look over here. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So I love that you have been able to grow your business from just doing books to doing stuff online to doing stuff with yarn companies to doing the television show, which, by the way, side note, Candy Jensen is essentially like my crochet godmother.
Let me tell you, like,
I love Candy more than the earth. Like, she's
yes.
amazing.
There's two. I have, well, I mean, I have a lot because I always love to give the credit to the women who laid the foundation for my career, because I think, like, for me, I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for you. And
Oh.
I always say that with, like, yeah, people are like, oh, he just loves Marley and he's trying to impress. But you know me. And the truth is that if I hadn't have gone to that designer dinner and I hadn't met Rebecca wouldn't have seen this wrap that I did and then sent it to Ellen, who was at the time the editor of Crochet Magazine, who then put it to my producer, Laura at Annie's. And it's like my career started with that. Like, all of it, the dominoes line up. And so, like, I have all these great women who laid, like, amazing foundations for my career. And you're one of them. And I always think of Rebecca and Ellen, and Candy taught me so much. But if there's one person who always puts a smile on my face and taught me one of the best lessons in all of my career, it was Robin Chichula.
Oh God, you
And
just named like all of my best friends, by the way.
right? I know, right? But let me tell you, Robin and I, when we did the first season of the TV show and Candy was a producer, Robin gave me amazing advice. And, like, no one had given me that. And I laugh about it now, but she just said, and this doesn't matter to anyone that's not a teacher, you'll understand. She was like, just take the project and break it down into, like, 3 important things, and then you're fine. And I was like, what? It blew my mind at the time. And I still, every time I'm on TV or every time I do an online class with Annie's, I literally go by that book. And I use that advice every single day of my entire career. And it's amazing that Candy, like, asked me to be on the show. Robin gave me that great advice that I still use now 5 years later.
That's so awesome. I love it. Yeah, all those people, those are like my best friends. Like Ellen and Rebecca and Robin literally are my best friends. Like,
I love it.
we talk all the time. Rob and I are working on a secret project together too. So I'm excited.
Yay!
Yes, it should be really good. But so my point is, you could not have built a better foundation on better people, because
Yeah.
they are quality people. So that's so great. I love hearing about your success. I love what you're doing with Debbie Maycomer and Oleg. I love what you're doing in your career and growing and expanding and pivoting, trying out all the different things, watching you on Instagram with your Instagram stories. Sometimes it's just like you're like with your phone just talking to it. I'm like, oh, hey friend, what are you doing today? Yeah, like I totally just like, oh, that's so cool. And then I'm like, I wish I could be that confident to just talk to the camera, because then I'd be like, all right, I got something on my nose. I don't
I'm
know.
like a hot mess half the time. My hair is never done. I don't have makeup on. I'm barely wearing a tank top some days. Like, I am a mess. But the reason I do that is because, like you said earlier, authenticity is always incredibly important. But even more than authenticity, I think, like, letting and getting in and telling people, like, I am totally a normal person. I still do everything that, like, everyone else does. I just get to crochet for a living, which is cool. But then I also want people to know how much work goes into doing stuff, and the fact that, like, crochet patterns are not easy to write. And sometimes they are. I'm doing a basic cowl right now that'll come out, I don't know, in like 8 months. And let me tell you, it is one of the most challenging designs I've ever done. And it's challenging because I'm making it challenging in my head. And in reality, it looks easy, which makes me really angry, because when I write the pattern, I'm like, it's a 5-row repeat. Why did this take me 2 weeks to figure out? Like, this is upsetting the level. But yeah, like, and also I think it's important that, like, Instagram stories give people a way to connect. And all of my friends are all over the United States. Like, I hardly have anyone, and I think this goes for any crocheter, knitter, crafter. There's a lot of times where we're, like, sequestered in our homes. We don't have people in our area that knit or crochet with us. Instagram stories are a way for you to connect with other people. And I've heard so many times that my Instagram stories inspire people, like the good ones, not the messy ones, but, like, they inspire people, or they give people confidence to do their own thing. I've heard from other designers that they started doing stories because I was doing them, and that it just helped open up their entire world, because it also allows people to communicate with designers, which I think like there's still this weird thing because we're like totally normal people. And like sometimes we make mistakes. And if you send me a DM and you say, Ron, I think your pattern is wrong on your blog, I can go fix it real fast. And then it's just between us. We don't got to tell anyone that I messed up.
Right.
Like we got a secret. And so like, and I'm not saying that's happened before, but I'm saying if theoretically.
Right? I'm
Yeah.
so right there
like,
with you.
Off the chance that I made a mistake in a pattern. So, yeah.
Well, it's like
I just put out.
There are designers who you've inspired to do Instagram stories, because I've really, in all honesty, I've really struggled with Instagram in general. We're all over the place with this podcast, but I mean, this is so us, you guys. We're just chatting. But Instagram to me is like this anomaly I really just don't understand. And I have followers. I think I'm almost to 17,000 followers, which is exciting. I know. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, come on over. I'm the Marley Bird, because somebody else took Marley Bird. So I was like, I'm the Marley Bird. Anyways, but so I just like, I find myself, well, back in the day, it was you weren't allowed to post what you were making because you weren't allowed to like scoop yourself, right? You weren't allowed to show anything. Yeah. So I'm fighting that mindset. Oh, I can't show what I'm working on because somebody else might make it. And so I'm like, no, I've got to change that. And then I find myself taking a lot of pictures of myself, like, oh, here's where I am. And then I look at my feed and I'm like, gosh, I look so egotistical. And I'm like, I don't want to look like it's just about me. And so then I struggle on what should be on there. And then stories, that's a whole nother ball game. I don't know. I do my best. I try and shoot stuff. I try and pay attention to what Tamara's doing. Like Tamara's trying to give me lessons of, okay, here's what we should do. And I'm like, that's awesome. Why can't you just like be in my back pocket all the time and tell me, hey, you should Instagram this, Because I just,
see, like,
I don't
get
it.
I think that brings up this incredibly interesting conversation of like how when you and I, like 5 years ago in the industry, it was so different than what it is now. And social media itself, like I remember 5 years ago, it was all Facebook, like Facebook pages, get your Facebook follower count, whatever up. And now Instagram is doing the other thing. I didn't pay attention to Instagram until last year when my friend Lee,
love her.
Lee, oh my God, let me tell you, Lee and we talk, she's my best friend. So we talk literally every single day, all day long. We have a running Facebook Messenger feed that is just like everything. Yep. I talk to her about literally everything in the world. And
you have to tell her I said hi.
I will, for sure. She was like, you need to get your Instagram under control. And I was like, whatever, it's fine. I don't need to. It's not that big a deal. She was like, Ron, it's a mess. And that's the kind of friend I like, when they're like, you're being like silly, just do this. And I still struggle. I will still text her at least once or twice a month saying, I really hate Instagram. This is ridiculous. It's also a time suck. And I'm like, I just want to crochet and knit and write. I don't want to deal with this. But it's an integral part, because I think about it as that's where my community is active. And that's where like I make friends with people. And that's where I can like share what I'm working on. But you're right. There were times where I remember you were not allowed to even talk about what you were working on. Those vague Facebook posts of, I'm working on something cool with a company, can't wait to show you guys. Like, that's what it is. Now it's like, I just signed a contract with a company last month. And that company explicitly stated like, we want you to show on Instagram what you're working on.
Yes.
Up close, they tell you exactly what kind of photo to post, and then the big reveal one day. But you can do this and you can show this. And I'm like, well, holy crap. Okay, cool. Cool. I guess that's where we are in the industry.
Yeah.
Now. So that's what I'm gonna do. And like it's one of those things that I'm slowly starting to learn. But you're right, it's hard to break out of that. It's hard to break out of that shell. It's hard to break out of that mindset, that learned kind of mindset that we have. Yeah. But I think Instagram is great because it also helps us find our voice as crafters and crocheters and knitters and quilters, because it allows us to tap into every community that's out there and our little area of that community, and to make friends and to just be like, I don't have to be singularly focused. I can do a lot of things, meet a lot of people, and inspire even more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's a question for you.
Yeah.
So Selena Baca, love her. She's one of my good friends too. So she had this rant the other day on Facebook about the Instagram images that are, it's like the perfect image of here's my project, here's my hand holding my lovely hook, and here's this little plant in the corner with my cup of brewed coffee. Like she goes through this whole thing. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it. So like it cracks me up. And she's like, you gotta crochet responsibly. You can't be crocheting with your cup of coffee right there that close to your project because you're gonna spill it on yourself. Like she's going on, and I'm seriously, if you haven't seen it, you need to go to Selena Baca Crochet.
I will look at it.
It's hysterical. But it's real. It's like she's very much like, why do we have to stage all these pictures? Because she's like, that's not my world. Like, I could tell. Look. Let's keep it real. Look at this. Oh my gosh.
This is all fake.
Right? Yeah. So I'm like, she's just all, let's keep things real and make sure that, see, look, I mean, I'm just like, you don't need to see that. So she's like, let's make sure we're crocheting responsibly with the coffee, right? Because everybody has the coffee or the freshly brewed tea or whatever. So I started doing hashtag crochet responsibly, like with the lid on my coffee. I think it's hilarious. But so where am I going with this? Oh, it's just so where do you stand? Are you just like, look, this is my mess, this is where I am, or is it perfectly structured, crafted pictures?
Oh no. I will be honest and say that there's a fur blanket on the floor in front of a window over here with a fake wooden slat tray with a cup of coffee that's cold and a crochet hook and a project and a book. It's all set up, ready to go to take pictures after this podcast. So stay tuned.
Hashtag keeping it real, and totally tag Selena Baca. Okay. Oh my god.
I am on both fences. Like there are times where I'm just like, I'm not going to show what I'm working on because I'm a mess and I don't want to do this. But I also think that there is there's worth in the aesthetic of that kind of image because people want to see something I guess they can aspire to. And it's a lie. Instagram's like a lie factory. Like if we're being honest, all of Instagram is just like if you go on there and think that certain things are serious, there's a great bridge in Brooklyn that I can sell you because like it just doesn't like it's not real. It's just not. But I think that it helps make things kind of look, I guess, a little bit better. I just like editing photos particularly. And so I take a crap ton of photos and then I edit them, and that's work to me. I just take a bunch of photos and sit on the couch and watch reruns of Sabrina and edit photos. And it gives me an excuse just to not do anything. But yeah, I think I am the same way. I went through a phase a couple months ago where I got burnt out from Instagram and I just had to stop. I was like, this is too much. There's too much going on. The race to get followers is hard. Yeah. And like, it goes right back to things in the industry changing. Like now it's so difficult to get a book publishing deal if you don't have over 10,000 followers. If you don't have at least 10,000, then you're not worth the publisher's time because they see that as direct sales, right? And if you don't have so many blog followers and Facebook, they don't see that you're not doing enough work on social media. Right. And so like it turns into this really exhausting contest to like get to the next number. You get to 10,000 and then you're like, okay, now I need 15 and then 20, 25, 50, and it never stops. And so you have to be confident and like, okay, I will say that I posted a photo. It was my most liked photo in the history of Instagram. It was hilarious. It was 3 or 4 days ago. And I was working on a Tunisian crochet project sitting outside. And I think my caption was, I went outside to take a picture of me crocheting outside. And then I went back inside. And,
hashtag keeping it real.
Yes. The reality is I went outside. Like I have photo shoots. Like if I'm being honest, we schedule photo shoots of me and I go to the local arboretum and I bring the same project. And I photograph myself in a bunch of different outfits. And then I use those for the next 6 to 8 months on Instagram, just popping them out whenever I can.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is so crazy. I love it. I love it. I love that you do the photo shoots because I'll just be like, I should take a picture. Okay. Let's take a picture. I own a fur, like a fake fur, like fabric that I bought at Joann's because I was like, oh, those are, I think it was, oh gosh, who's I don't know, somebody was doing it and it wasn't you because I know that you do it, but I had saw it somewhere else. And I was like, oh, that's such a good idea. And then I have never used it. It's still in the Joann's bag in there. Like I'm just like, I don't know. How did I get on this topic? Oh, so I will throw this out there. So just speaking of goals, like it's like 10,000 and then 15 and then 20, like you're always trying to reach the goal. So I just throw this out there. If everybody wants to help us get our goals. My goal for YouTube this year is 200,000 subscribers, and my goal for Instagram is 20,000. So I'm really close to the Instagram. I'm pretty far from YouTube. So if y'all want to help me, please spread the word about the Marley Bird YouTube channel. How about you, Ron? Tell people, give your shout out numbers.
Mine is 10 on Instagram. It's really the only social media I'm on anymore. So 10,000 on Instagram. I think I'm at like 7,000 now, a little over. So
all right,
I'm close.
So we can get you there. We got to get you there. I love it. I don't know how the hell we got on Instagram. Oh, it's because I said I like your stories. I don't know. This is so much fun. Are we giving something away today? I don't even know. I don't have it.
I have a couple copies of my shawl book. I don't have it. But yes, it's called Crochet Lacy Shawls, and it's 27 different shawl patterns, and they're broken up into every different shawl shape that there is. And I think there's, I don't know, I'm trying to do math in my head. This is bad. There's a bunch of different shawl shapes that's divisible by 27. And then there are beginner, intermediate, and advanced patterns for every shawl shape.
Isn't 27 like a prime number or something?
I don't know.
I'm just impressed I remember the term prime number.
My publisher said 27 and it sounded good. So 27.
I love it.
There's 27 patterns.
Okay. So we have 2 books, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll give one away to a live listener who's stuck with us this long and they're listening to us just jibber jabber. So if you are listening live right now, it is 10:54 a.m. here in Colorado. I want you to what should they put how about just let's keep it simple. Well, I want to win. Type I want to win in the pop-up chat right now, and you are entering for a chance to win a copy of his shawl book with 27 shawls. I'm sorry. And then if you are not watching live, don't worry. There's always a chance for you to win as well. All you will need to do is leave a comment on the show notes, which are available at marleybird.com. I mentioned earlier, I put a link to the show notes in the video description box of this video. So if you go there, click on the link for the show notes, it'll take you to marleybird.com. All the links for Ron are right there, including, like I said, the patterns he's done for Red Heart, some videos I've done for those patterns, how we've connected and mashed together. And then at the bottom, I want you to leave a comment or reply that includes the keyword blessings. So blessings is your keyword that you will include in the comment on the show notes over at marleybird.com. Now, I'm going to give this as a disclaimer. I love your comments here on YouTube. They actually really help me out a lot because YouTube sees that as interaction and it's really nice. Not to mention, I love hearing you guys leave comments and tell me, you know, how good the show was or how much fun that was or how much you love the guest or so on and so forth. But to be entered for a chance to win, you must leave your comment on those show notes because that is where Caitlin goes to randomly select a winner. So there is all of that. And while I have you here, go ahead and smash that like button right now. So that way everybody knows you enjoyed this video. Okay, guys? All right. So Ron, there are so many people writing, I want to win. I'm going to scroll up to where it starts. Okay. And then I'm going to scroll back down. And now I'm scrolling back and forth. You tell me when, and that person will be the lucky winner.
All right. When?
All right. That is Lori Larson. Lori Larson, you are the lucky winner. Congratulations. I'm going to have you email me winner@yarnthingpodcast.com. And Ron, what information does she need to include there?
Just the address, and I'll ship it out to her this week.
All right. So you keep talking while I type this in here
Okay. It's just us now. Marley's not here anymore, so.
Let's talk about how bad her hair looks today.
I am still doing math in my head, trying to figure out.
You're gonna wake up in the middle of the night and be like 27.
I'm like 27.
Oh my god, I can't even type. All right.
I'm telling you. Yes, see, 9. It's divisible by 9. So 27, 9 times 3 is 27. So
there it is.
I think there's 9 different shapes of shawls in there. Maybe. We'll see. You'll get the book and find out. It'll be like a great surprise. And you'll be just so excited. So.
Oh my god. I love it. You're right. 9.
Yes.
I'm surprised nobody in the chat. Maybe they did. They were like, no, it's divisible by 9. I don't even know if they did or not because they were too right and I want to win. Oh my god. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. I love talking to you. It's so much fun.
I'll have to come back on when my next book comes out.
Absolutely. You have to come on when your next book comes out. Like, I think that would be a treat. Can you tell us what it is? Is it one of those?
Yeah, it's a punch needle book. It comes out. That's weird. It comes out in fall of 2020, and it's going to be a book all about punch needle. So it's punch needle rug hooking, which is technically what it's called. It's really popular on like Instagram right now and a lot of different social medias. I did a video on my Facebook page that kind of went a little bit viral, which was really cool. And it's the process of using, I have a little thing. I don't know if this will be in the book, but this is one that I'm doing right now. And so it's on a special cloth. And like, if you look, it's actually like raised up. And so this is all yarn. So you use yarn and you use a special punch needle tool and you punch it into the back of the fabric. And then it creates these really beautiful images on the front.
All right, so hold that image because you're getting choppy.
Oh,
so hold it up and then hold it to the side so that they can see how it's raised up. All right, cool. We've had a punch needle person on the podcast before, so maybe I can find that link and like she did a demonstration of it. But yeah, so that's what we'll do. We'll have you come on when your new book comes out and I'll have you do a live demonstration. Do you like that? That's what you're going to do.
It's a great demonstration. That's exactly how you do it. You just go just all over. It's all in the wrist, Marley. It's all in the wrist.
And on that note, we're good. Oh my god, I love having you on the podcast. It's so much fun. Oh my goodness gracious. So all of you out there, please follow Rohn over on Instagram. Get him some more followers. Let's get him to hit that 10,000 mark for sure. Check out the I just forgot what it's called. One Blessing 2. No. The Debbie Maycomer one. Oh, he paused. It's what's the Debbie Maycomer blessing?
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you're pausing.
One, bless 2.
It'll come to me. It'll come to me. It's in my head. Oh,
am I there?
I hear you, but I can't see you. So it's the Knit 1, Bless 2, Knit for Kids with World Vision. Rohn has patterns there. It's a pattern right now. You can buy the pattern and it's you donate, you get a free pattern, however you want to view it. Go check it out. You could also go back and listen to the podcast we did with Debbie Maycomer. It was a lovely podcast. She's a wonderful person. I love having Rohn on the show to talk about all the fun things we talk about. We always go in different tangents and stuff, but it's all in good fun. I hope all of you had a good time today. I know that the video was a little bit choppy, but the sound was coming through loud and clear. So you know what? Grab your hook and your crochet yarn or your knitting needles and your knitting yarn and just sit and enjoy the show. We had a good time. Rohn, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you.
Oh, and it keeps going. There you are. Okay. Say thank you once again.
Thank you. Real quick.
All right, guys, I will be back on the show next Tuesday, the 18th, with Selena Baca. I didn't even know that. I just read it with Selena Baca. Oh my gosh, we're going to have to talk about #crochet responsibly. We should flood the Instagram with that. The Instagram. Do you like that? I like it. The Instagram. To flood Instagram with Crochet Responsibly because it's hilarious. All right, so I'll be back next Tuesday with Selena Baca. More shenanigans are afoot, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, everybody.